excited to do my show today, and not just because Mr. Whiskers decided to join me. He's super excited too. I'm excited because today we're answering your questions about communication, and not just this kind. Or that kind, but all kinds. So let's take a look at question number 1. It's from Leela.
Can a horse and a pig communicate?
What do you think, Mr. Whiskers? He'll get back to you on that. In the meantime, I think I have the answer to your question. I went over to my friend's farm last week and filmed the horses and the pigs.
Okay, there are the horses and there are the pigs. And it doesn't look like there's any communicating going on between them. Wait a minute, the horse just looked over at the pigs. I'm not sure.
But I'm not giving up yet. Sometimes if you can't find the answer to a question, it's better to ask more questions.
So, Leela,
By the end of the show, I'll have the answer to your question.
speaking of questions, here's another one.
Why do dogs go woof woof?
Now, I don't have a dog, mostly because Mr. Whiskers here is afraid of them. But I do have an answer to your question, Hanifa, and it's pretty cool. So this is my cousin's dog, Clyde. Mr. Whiskers doesn't like him at all.
I found out that when dogs bark, they're not just making noise, they're actually communicating. That means this dog is saying something right now. Do you know what it is? Maybe Ralph? Or Rolf? Roast, maybe? Is it possible that he's asking for a roast?
Oh, sorry, Mr. Whiskers. Here, you can leave. Here's the cool thing. Some scientists in Hungary have figured out that when dogs bark, they're telling us how they feel. And there are different barks for different feelings, like this is the play bark.
That's the bark a dog makes when he's playing fun doggy games, like tug of war or wrestling. Okay, now this is the stranger bark. That's the bark a dog makes when there's a stranger at the door. And here's another kind of dog doing the stranger bark.
There are so many different breeds of dogs, but they all have the same way of communicating with us.
Now, if you knew what the play bark and the stranger bark meant before I told you, you're not alone. People and dogs have a special relationship, and scientists have discovered that people can tell the difference between dog barks, even people without dogs.
How? Adaptation.
Dogs have been our companions for thousands of years, and scientists think their different barks changed over time to sound a lot alike, at least in tone, so that they can communicate with us. These dogs might look different, but they seem to be saying the same thing.
So if dogs bark to communicate with us, let's find out how well you understand them.
Uh-oh. Do try this at home.
Okay, I'm going to play 3 different types of barks for you. The first one is the food bark. That's what a dog barks like when he's hungry. Next is the alone bark. The alone bark is when a dog is tied to a tree and away from his owner. Last is the fight bark, which is when a dog is angry and or vicious. Now we have the 3 barks up here, and you have to guess which one I'm playing. And I'm not going to play them in order. Or am I? Okay, first one. Do you think that dog is hungry, feeling alone, or ready to fight? Ready for the answer? I have a drum roll. Hang on. It'll be easier if I just do it myself. And the answer is alone. Congratulations if you got it right. If not, you still have 2 more chances. Okay, so I'm going to play the last 2 barks one after another. Which one's food? Which one's fight? And the answer is food, then fight. If you got all 3 right, then congratulations. You're like an official dog whisperer. But if you didn't, don't worry about it. I'm sure dogs don't understand what you're saying either. How could they? I mean, we have so many words, and they only have one. Woof. But I guess it's not just what you say, but how you say it. For example, if I say drum solo, I'm asking a question. But if I say, drum solo, I'm not asking you, I'm telling you. Same words, but when I change the tone, it changes the meaning. It's a part of how we communicate too, and how dogs communicate, even though they don't use words. Hey, and that's the doorbell communicating with me. It's telling me my guest is here, but this time he's 5 inches tall and he's gonna answer a question about communication. This one's from Taya. Coming!
Why do parrots copy us when we talk?
So I'm here with Eliza and Aaron and their macaw, Coco. So why do parrots copy us when we talk? Why do parrots copy us when we talk?
They are able to mimic sound. Birds in the wild will mimic other songs, and parrots, when they live with us, try and mimic the sounds in their environment. So some birds will mimic sounds that they hear, like the telephone or trucks backing up in the alleyway. Many parrots will try and mimic human speech because they live with human beings.
I've heard of parrots that imitate ringtones on phones and doorbells and stuff. Does Coco do that at all, or?
He doesn't do that. His species doesn't particularly copy those types of sounds, but there are other species of parrots, for example, African greys or other birds that like those very high-pitched sounds.
Parrots live in groups, and they use sound to communicate with each other. But if there are no other parrots around for a parrot to talk to, then it will imitate whatever is nearby, like people.
So can Coco say any words at all, or?
Coco has a vocabulary. He speaks in English and in French. Aaron, do you want to try and get him to say something?
Hello, Coco. Hello. Hello, Coco.
So, does Coco really know what he's saying?
Well, Coco will answer you if you ask him a specific question in a specific circumstance. So, for example, if I'm in one room of the house and I call Aaron in another room of the house, he'll tell me to stop yelling because he doesn't like it when you raise your voice. If he wants to go to bed, he'll say, I want to go in my cage. And sometimes he'll say things like, if you ask him if he wants to eat something in particular that he really does want to eat, he'll say, yes, I do. And so they will respond and mimic and answer sometimes what you ask them with a set answer that they already know will give a desired result. But you never know exactly what he's going to say, and he'll say things only when he wants to.
So what's an example of a circumstance where Coco will talk?
Well, Coco likes going into drawers, and sometimes if he's in the right mood and he feels like going into one, he'll yell out, it's a drawer, several times.
In a really loud voice.
In a very loud voice.
It's a drawer.
He's like, yeah, that's me. I say it's a drawer. Okay, well, I have a drawer right over here, so we can try it out then, right?
Okay, let's try it. Oh, look. Want to go in the drawer?
It's a drawer.
Come on, Coco.
I think I heard him. He said it's a drawer. Thank you for being on my show, and thank you, Coco. I couldn't have said it better myself. Now here's a question from Omarion.
Why do some people speak in other languages?
Well, Omarion, I have no idea. So why don't we start out by finding out how many languages are there? Let's see, there's English, French, Spanish, German, Danish, Greek, Chinese, Lebanese, Croatian, Japanese, Egyptian, Italian, Ojibwe, Polish, Portuguese, Russian, Korean, Romanian, Yiddish, Dutch. Ah! Yay!
You're gonna make my head explode!
It looks like there are around 6,900 languages being used on Earth right now. 6,900? That's more languages than there are countries in the world. Where did all these languages come from?
A long time ago, very far away, prehistoric people might walk the same. They went their separate ways, and the words they spoke started to change. So matter, later, madre, mir, only mother, that lady who cares. Pater, pater, peer, padre, only father, no matter what you say. People walk their walk, and they talk their talk. That's why there's so many languages spreading in this world today.
Check out this language question.
From Ashton.
What was the first language on Earth?
So it turns out finding the answer was pretty easy. Scientists think the first language on Earth was some sort of basic sign language. This is how I imagine it.
Apparently, back then, people could only kind of grunt. Which isn't really a great way to communicate. So they probably pointed and made up signs for things they couldn't talk about.
Now it's time for... Hello, contestants. Are you ready for my great challenge?
Yeah.
Okay, you guys are gonna be team number 1 and you're team number 2. Today, the challenge is to communicate like early humans without any talking, which is very similar to charades. So team number 2, please leave the room. Team number 1, get ready to play. So Michael, here's the sentence that you will have to act out.
The sentence I gave Michael says, your socks are on fire.
Got it? So Fabiana, you have 2 minutes to guess what he is acting out. Go.
Your feet are on fire?
You're very close. Guess, guess.
Your feet are burning?
Keep guessing, come on.
Your socks are on fire.
That's right, you got it. Yeah. Congratulations. You almost got it right away. You were really close. How did you know that it was fire?
Because when he lifted up his pants, like up until here, I saw him waving his socks, so I just knew it like that.
Why do you think it would be hard if there was no language back then, if you had to act everything out like you just did?
Well, because it would take a long time to guess what I was doing.
Do you think you'd get good at it eventually?
Yeah.
How do you think you did?
Good.
Good?
Great.
Great. Okay, Talia, here's the line that you'll be acting out.
Team number 2 has the same sentence. The sentence is, your socks are on fire.
Got it? Okay, and you'll be guessing what she's acting out. Are you ready? Okay, go.
I don't know what she's doing though. Okay, you're putting on a sock. You're
Keep acting it out.
taking off your sock. You're washing your sock.
Getting closer.
You're drying your sock. It's hot.
Getting very close.
It's on fire.
Yeah, so
Her sock's on fire.
you got it. Awesome. So, Talia, what did you think was the hardest thing about acting it out?
The fire part.
Why did you think the fire part was the hardest?
There's not a lot of fire, like, stuff.
So, and what was the easiest part?
The sock.
The sock? Why was the sock so easy to act out?
You just put a sock on your foot.
Or pretend to, yeah?
Yeah.
So, Jessica, what was the hardest part of trying to guess what Talia was acting out?
Like she said, the fire part, because there wasn't like much movements that she did for the fire, so it was kind of hard to guess.
How did you finally know that it was fire that she was acting out?
Because she like kind of like blew in her hands like it was hot, or like after she put her sock on, she like kind of like said it was like on fire, and she like kind of backed up and like yeah.
Okay, the winner is team number 1. Yeah! You guys did it twice as fast as team number 2. Okay. Ancient communication is way too difficult. What I was trying to say is, thanks for playing my great challenge. Congratulations. That was awesome. Speaking of speaking with your hands,
There are jobs where people use special signals to communicate. Here's how a sailor sends a message from his ship to another ship. How a baseball catcher sends a secret message to the pitcher. And people who are hearing impaired have figured out how to talk to each other with their hands. It's called sign language.
let's take another question.
This one's from Juliana.
Can you do sign language with animals?
I thought the answer to Juliana's question.
Question would be no, but you wouldn't believe what I found out.
And if you have a pet monkey, tell him to come watch this too. Since the 70s, scientists have been teaching chimpanzees some human-style sign language. And it turns out, they can learn a lot of words.
And over at the aquarium, they have trainers that know how to communicate with dolphins and whales. Let's check it out. So here I am with Nicole Can.
Hey, Harrison.
Hi, so can you tell me the different ways that fish and underwater mammals communicate?
Well, these belugas eat a lot of a fish called herring. And herring is a fish that has a very interesting way of communicating. They make distinct pulse-like sounds in their guts that are way too low for us to hear.
By their guts, you mean
Yeah, I mean farting.
gross. Well, I just communicated myself.
Oh, gross, Harrison.
But how do these guys communicate?
Well, beluga whales are capable of making a lot of different sounds. In fact, early Arctic explorers used to call them the canaries of the sea due to all of the different types of sounds they can make. And we know they use those sounds to communicate with each other, but we're not entirely sure how yet.
Nobody knows exactly what whales are saying to each other with their calls, but we do know some amazing things about them. It's believed that some whales can send their sounds to other whales halfway around the world. And humpback whales, like these ones, sing slightly different songs depending on where in the world they live. It's like each group has its own language.
So how do you communicate with dolphins?
You use sign language.
What do you mean by sign language?
It's a form of communication that we've come up with the dolphins. Everything we do with our hands means something different to them.
Okay, so can you show me a couple?
Sure, if you wanted to ask the dolphins to make noise or to vocalize, wiggle your fingers like you're conducting a choir. Perfect. And then if you wanted to ask them to swim really fast, what we call a speed swim, take your hand and go, go.
Go! Like that?
Yep. That's perfect.
So I can make a dolphin swim fast now.
You could ask them to swim really fast.
Okay. And what about like something awesome, like a backflip?
A backflip, it's actually a really small hand signal. Just your 2 fingers up and down.
Just by saying that, it's telling them to do a backflip.
Yep.
That's crazy. What else? Can they like wave or anything?
Well, if you wave your hands at them,
Yeah.
they'll wave back.
They're so smart.
They are very smart.
So how do you say goodbye?
Like this.
Okay. Goodbye. Bye. I gotta teach some of these to my goldfish. Bad news. Mr. Whiskers ate my goldfish. Just kidding. But here's another question. This one's from Laura.
Can animals talk to each other?
So here's how I'm gonna answer your question. I'm gonna show Mr. Whiskers here different animals saying stuff, and we'll see if he talks back. Hey, Mr. Whiskers. Anyway, I think it would be easier just to search and see animals communicating with each other. Animals communicating with each other. Aha! We have a hit.
In Yellowstone National Park, scientists found another example of how different animals can communicate with each other. Ravens have learned a very clever trick. When they spot elk, they fly off to alert the wolves. Then, they lead the hungry wolves toward the elk. When the wolves have moved in for the kill and had their fill, the ravens swoop in and snack on the leftovers. That also answers the first question we started off with. Here it is again.
Can a horse and a pig communicate?
And the big answer is maybe.
I found out that horses can interpret the body language of other creatures, and pigs are supposed to be way more clever than dogs. So if they really needed to, a horse and a pig might develop some kind of communication, like the ravens and wolves at Yellowstone. But so far, they don't seem to have much use for each other.
I'm glad we got to the bottom of that one. Modern science can rest a little easier tonight. Thanks for sending in all your questions and for watching Finding Stuff Out. Mr. Whiskers, cue.
long time ago, very far away, prehistoric people all talk the same. They went their separate ways, and the words they spoke started to change. So Mata, Mater, Madre, Mir, only mother got lady, who cares? Pater, Pater, Peter, Padre, only father, no matter what you say. People walk their walk, and they talk their talk. That's why there's so many languages spoken in this world today.